Absolute Superman goes on a rampage to destroy Lazarus and save Jimmy Olsen. Krypton, years ago. The Sunstones crack apart as Jor-El pushes through. "I see them! They're alive! Keep digging!" he shouts to the drones that float nearby. The drones fly in and continue to chisel away at the Sunstone, allowing Jor-El to enter the chamber that had trapped the lost miners. "I'm Jor-El from engineering. I need medical teams down here immediately," Jor-El says over the radio as he enters the chamber. But the miners shake their heads and reach for him. "We won't make it," one of them gasps. He motions behind him at the other miners. "We won't make it because of them," he grunts. Jor-El doesn't understand, but as he looks up, something tears through the Sunstone, grabbing hold of one of the miners and pulling him screaming into the shadows. "Was that?" Jor-El begins to say, Sunstone dust beginning to fill the chamber as the ground shakes beneath them, warning them of more animals approaching. "Magmoles," the miner gasps. Jor-El shakes his head. He knows about the creatures, knows that they don't come up this far to the surface, and have never attacked people. One of the miners struggles to his feet, lifting the diamond pickaxe and readying it as a weapon. "Tell that to the 3 miners they dragged away screaming," he grunts. Jor-El crowds with the miners, all standing back to back in order to defend themselves. "Stay close. First sign of a mole, we fight together. Bash its brains in. It's our only chance," the lead miner orders. The chamber begins to shake again as the creatures draw close, but they don't come one at a time. They push through the Sunstone and launch their attack. Jor-El's eyes widen in horror at the rabid nature of the normally docile creatures. Something must have pushed them to the surface, starved them. Something within the planet's core must have affected them. But none of that matters. The only thing Jor-El can think of is getting home to Lara and Cal. "Drone! Lava gun!" Jor-El orders. The drone drops the weapon into Jor-El's hands before opening up with its own defenses. Jor-El grimly pulls the trigger and starts firing as the magmoles surround them. Present day Greenland. Lazarus Corp's research facility. Snow swirls around the landscape as the Lazarus Corp's Defense Air Force flies overhead, scanning for signs of the approaching Superman. Suddenly, red dust begins to swirl from the clouds, taking out the jet fighters one by one. Fire erupts in the sky as the pilots parachute safely down to the frozen earth below. At the facility, the Peacemakers open fire with an anti-aircraft barrage, firing bursts of lasers into the red clouds as they approach. Inside, Lois Lane is dragging Jimmy Olsen towards the exit. "Miss Lane, we have to do something. We've got to help," Jimmy begins to whisper, but Lois shoves him forward. "Shut the hell up, or we're both dead, you idiot," she snarls. Above in his office, Ra's al Ghul watches as the laser blasts erupt in the clouds overhead. He smiles. "At last, the day I meet my son," he whispers. He turns back to Brainiac and motions to the frozen landscape around them. "You couldn't have chosen a less godforsaken location for such a momentous day?" he questions. Brainiac bows his head and explains that his studies have indicated that Superman gains his power from the yellow sun. Here, the sun won't rise for another 37 days. The longer he fights, the more Superman will exhaust his solar reserves, Brainiac explains. Suddenly, the door opens behind him to reveal the augmented Peacemaker Smith. "Captain Smith, ready for another shot at the Superman?" Ra's asks. The soldier stands at attention and nods his head. "Yes, sir, Mr. Al Ghul, sir," he says. "But If I may speak freely, sir, do I have permission to win this time? Roz turns and holds out a glowing green kryptonite bullet. Your orders are to make God proud, Roz tells him. Meanwhile, the red cloud has reached the anti-aircraft turrets and ripped them apart. Roz steps outside with Brainiac and Smith. Tell me he's killing them, he asks Brainiac. I'm afraid that the Peacemaker's vitals are still quite active. Superman is merely stranding them miles away, Brainiac tells him. Roz sighs in disappointment at Superman's continued non-lethal fighting. Below them, a boom tube suddenly opens in the courtyard, depositing Primus and her Omega Men into the facility. Omega Men! Find Agent Alpha and kill anyone who gets in your way, Primus shouts as she raises her energy sword. Lois pushes Jimmy outside as the fighting begins all around them. That was a boom tube. The Omega Men are here, Miss Lane. Primus can get us out of here, Jimmy whispers. But Lois shoves him into the snow and pushes her pistol against his head. I am not gonna tell you again, Olsen. Next time you open your damn mouth, I'm sending your teeth down your throat, she hisses. Smith walks past them, smiling down at Lane. Nice to see you finally joining the team, sweetheart. Now watch what I do to your Kansas pretty boy, he tells Lois. His jetpack activates and he leaps into the sky, barreling towards the red clouds as he readies his pistol. He disappears into the cloud cover, prepared to take on Superman. 4 seconds later, there is a burst of light, and suddenly, Smith comes flying back out and slams into the ground hard. He gasps for air, his metallic body shattered and broken. The clouds finally part as Kal moves forward, floating down gently as the red dust swirls around him. Smith reaches a shaky hand for his fallen pistol and takes aim. You bastard! Not done with you yet, he gasps. But Superman doesn't move. He thinks back to the day when his father returned and told him about the Magmals, about how he had to be cruel and kill them so that he could survive. Kal was shocked, but Jor-El explained that sometimes a man had to kill, but only if it was to protect himself and those he loves. Superman stares at Smith, and suddenly, Primus is there. What the hell are you waiting for? For Smith to put another bullet in you? He's a murderer, a threat to everything you fight for. Finish him already, she shouts. But she grows impatient and finally shakes her head and raises her sword. To hell with you, I'll do it myself, she growls. Superman's eyes suddenly glow and the sword melts in her hands. She whirls on the Man of Steel. You save him? After everything he's done? You're no Superman. You're nothing but a soft little coward, she shouts. But suddenly, the Omega Men and Peacekeepers are all around them. Roz approaches with Lois and Jimmy. How dare you speak that way, woman? To the son of the demon, Roz snaps at her. Son? Lois says in shock as she looks at Roz. Not by blood, of course. The blood is what comes now. He stops at Smith, reaching down and taking the pistol from his hands. Please, I never got to fire my bullet, Smith gasps, but Roz shakes his head in disgust. He raises the pistol and takes aim, and fires at Smith's face. But Superman moves at blinding speed, putting his hand in the way of the bullet. No! He shouts as the bullet rips into his flesh. Roz looks at him, explaining that he understands that Kal is angry at the state of the world. But together, they can fix it, remake it in their image. Isn't that what you want, son? Ra's asks. Superman glares at him. I am not your son, he gasps with anger. Ra's nods his head. Not yet, but you will be, he says simply. Suddenly, Kal's eyes widen in shock as something pierces him from behind. He glances over his shoulder as Primus pulls the kryptonite blade from his flesh. Lois moves to help, but Primus whirls and kicks her in the head, knocking her out. The rest of the Omega Men begin to fall as Primus moves among them, her blades whirling and slashing. Superman falls to his knees in shock and pain. He looks up at the sound of the pinging father box. Ra's stares down at him, his arm gently placed on Primus's shoulder as she holds the father box. You are not yet worthy of being called a child of Al Ghul, but we will teach you, your sister and I. Won't we, Talia? Ra's asks. Talia Al Ghul smiles down at Kal. Indeed we will, Father. All hail the Omega! And that was the complete story for Absolute Superman, Issue 10 by Jason Aaron. If you enjoyed this story and want to support the industry, go check it out at your local comic shop. But what did you think about today's video? That twist at the end completely caught me off guard, and I'm excited to see what happens next. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And like and subscribe for more videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.